So I'm roller skating, and there was an article in the Beacon, and somehow I thought, they really need to cover roller skating more. I contacted Rhonda Wray at the Beacon, and it seemed like the perfect match, so I invited Rhonda to join us.
So roller skating and the Beacon and Rhonda Wray.
There you go. It's not just old people. It's roller skating.
Next on Loving the Springs, the podcast that celebrates the best of Colorado and Manitou Springs and strives to elevate the rest.
This is Peak Community, Studio 809 Podcast.
I'm Dave Gardner.
And I'm Al Brody.
We are coming to you from the Studio 809 Community Podcast Studio at the Next Us, which is a fantastic, amazing professional cooperative environment for small businesses in the heart of Colorado Springs.
We're recording this episode on March 28th, 2025. Still looking for a third co-host. We're not looking for another grumpy old man. We want different perspectives at the microphone. So if you find yourself sometimes disagreeing with us, you may be just who we're looking for. Email us at lovingthespringspodcast@gmail.com.
All right, Al, let's welcome to the studio Rhonda Wray, Managing Editor of Beacon Senior News.
Happy to be here. Thanks, guys.
Rhonda, welcome. And we're happy to have you and get a chance to know why you love the Springs and a bit about the Beacon, because I don't think most people that are under 50 look at it. They see, it's for older people, and I'm just not going to look at it. So tell us a bit about the Beacon and your role at the Beacon, because you do a lot of it.
The Beacon actually started as Life After 50.
And that's why people under 50 weren't reading it, probably.
Could be. And it looked a lot different then. It was more of the small newspaper size, kind of like how the Woodman and Cheyenne editions used to look, just that smaller. Long story short, it was sold to Kevin Van Gundy in Grand Junction. Kevin bought it. They had a Beacon magazine there in Grand Junction. So he thought, why not expand my reach and buy this one? And Kevin has even more plans brewing for Pueblo, perhaps Fort Collins, Greeley. So we are number 2, but hopefully probably not the last one.
Well, it's pretty interesting that he's got all these expansion plans. You know, this is the heyday when newspaper business is just growing by leaps and bounds, isn't it?
Oh, burn. Yeah.
You guys must be doing something right if he thinks that's the future.
I hope so. I hope also that we just continue to evolve. I mean, we don't have all our eggs in just the Beacon magazine basket. We have Beacon Fest that goes on at Grand Junction. We want to do a Beacon Fest here, and they're great. They're kind of like a big party with a lot of vendors and entertainment and giveaways and fun things to do. So he wants to do that. And then we also publish a Beacon Guide every year that has every phone number you'd ever want to have when you're 50 and older. And a website, of course.
What is that website?
beaconseniornews.com. And when you go on there, there's Grand Junction on the left. So if you're from here, you'll want to click on Colorado Springs on the right.
And soon you'll be able to click on Greeley or...
Yes. And if you scroll down, you see coming soon. Yeah. So, yeah.
So it wasn't that long ago that it was Life After 50.
Right.
You used to see that sitting in the rack in various places around town.
Mm-hmm.
How long ago did you guys change the name?
I think it's been 2.5 years.
Okay. But you can still find it in racks around town? And...
At the Ys, the libraries, Safeway is very good about it. Some King Supers, not 100%. Banks, restaurants, doctor's offices. Yeah.
But you can also read it online?
Yes.
You can also subscribe by email to get notifications of new issues?
You can, and then you can also subscribe to get a physical copy if you like to hold something in your hand.
Delivered right to your mailbox?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us what you do. You seem to be the magazine itself, the heart that just keeps it all going.
Yeah. I brainstorm ideas. I find writers. Sometimes I write. The things I do every month, I always have my column. I do the whole calendar section, the Fun After 50, clubs and support groups, maintain those lists, and of course edit everything that comes across.
Doesn't sound to me like she has any time to roller skate, Hal.
But she does. She does.
He did invite me to do it, but I was fearful of falling and not being able to get up.
So how did roller skating come into this?
There was an article about active stuff, and I thought, there are some older people, significantly older than me, that roller skate at Skate City. So I thought, we should see this. And the things that I do, which seem more and more unlikely, are becoming more and more common to see older people. And skiing is a good example, where even Monarch, you become a super senior, I think is the term they use, for if you're 69 and over, which is a significantly discounted price to ski.
Yeah, it used to be free a long time ago.
Well, that's the thing, is it used to be because nobody
Yeah, they weren't that in good a shape.
bring your grandparents out and they'll eat in the lodge while you ski. And now you go out on the mountain and it's not uncommon to see people in their 80s still skiing. And it's common, especially during the week. The weekends are a different story, but during the week, it's like, wow, that's impressive that these people are out there. So keeping the beacon focused on activity is something that I hope for.
So not just chess and checkers and Old Maid.
Check this out. Mary Smith, 84-year-old, has shattered world records sprinting ahead of competition. So when you're master's level and you run, that's 30 on up. So she's beating 30-somethings.
That's amazing.
Mary.
It really is.
That's
It's
the current
amazing.
cover story?
This is April.
So you have to appreciate what's possible, and the beacon is covering it. So roller skating was part of that.
Well, with roller skating and skiing, it brings whole new meaning to the phrase, I've fallen and I can't get up.
The good thing is there are pads for that.
Yes.
Is there like a central community in town, the place to rollerblade or roller skate in Colorado Springs or Manitou?
So we have 3 Skate City facilities in the city. And then we have 2 outdoor rinks. One is at Cottonwood Creek Park. And it's a roller rink, so roller hockey and roller skating. And then at the Youth El Pomar Youth Sports Complex, there is another facility there, a skating rink, and it's municipal, and you can use it for half an hour and then let somebody else do their thing. Because dance-type skating is not really compatible with ballistic hockey sport. So they're a bad mix. So you do one or the other. It's not good to mix them up. But yeah, there's a lot of people out and doing that. And Rhonda came out to do the article and then realized there's some photo ops here. So coming up the first Wednesday in April, she's bringing a photographer to Skate City at 10:30.
I hope so, yes.
And I invite everybody to come out at 10:30 to noon and skating to the oldies, which is music that's probably before 2000, not what I consider the oldies from the 50s.
And you know, everyone there, they just seem so joyful. There were lots of smiles. Everybody was having fun. Nobody was in a grumpy mood. So I don't, just getting out there and, you know.
Especially in the wintertime. I mean, it's nice in the summertime too, but in the wintertime when things are gray, it's nice to be with a bunch of people who are happy and there's good music that you can relate to and all good. And it's not just older people, although it's usually people who have the day off.
True, yeah.
I suppose if you were adventurous about it and you have your own equipment, you could rollerblade on what we consider the bike paths because we're active bicyclists.
You can do that.
A lot of the Legacy Loop.
And some of the new concrete, like the extensions of the trails that are happening, it's really nice to have super smooth concrete. So basketball courts, tennis courts, most of them restrict skating, all of them. There's really no reason because the wheels are plastic and the plastic wheels are not going to do anything to a court. But you really, and most of them say no roller sports. That's the problem. But you're looking for a smooth pavement without expansion joints. It's not fun with those.
Yeah, it's a lot of cracks to be jumping over.
Yes.
Are there other activities that people over 50 are engaged in that people might be surprised to hear about?
Oh, surprise. Because my first thought was pickleball. Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, no surprise there anymore.
We've been pickleballed to death, yeah. Surprising. Well, I have heard, I'd like to do a story on this, that there's actually an older women's roller derby. So that could be interesting, right?
No kidding. Wow.
How old are older women roller derby queens?
I'm not sure. I would hope more toward the younger end of senior, you know?
Because I know most of the people who come out, because I see
Yeah.
them at Skate City, and I'd say they're in their 30s and 40s, with some into their 50s. I haven't seen anybody older than that.
Yeah.
They oftentimes refer to me as grandpa. So I get the feeling they're younger than I am.
Yeah.
But it's a brutal sport. Almost everybody that I know has broken something.
Yeah.
And at this age, that's not what you're looking
No.
forward to doing.
No.
So I wonder if they've got a kind of a modified set of rules.
Possibly. Or better equipment, maybe, that they wear.
Could be.
Yeah.
I'm interested. I will look
I
into
know.
that.
Well, if I figure it out, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
It could be it's sponsored by orthopedic surgeons.
Could be. Dave's on to something, though. With the unusual. I mean, you write a full spectrum of articles on things that seniors
Yes.
do.
Yeah.
Tell us some stories.
Well, I always feel like, I was just telling my mom the other day, I'm like, I feel like whatever I'm writing about, I'm just super interested in, even if I didn't think at the outset that it would be something that would grab my attention. But then I start working on it. It's like, well, this is interesting. Like right now I'm working on an article, the Pikes Peak Posse of the Westerners. And this is a group of 50 to 80 folks who are passionate about specifically Western history and all that they do and some of the lectures that they've had. It's like, wow, I missed my chance. I wish I could have gone to some of those, you know?
They participate in a Stampede parade and breakfast. Isn't that group?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you'll do a story about watching paint dry.
Dave.
I did do an article on the guy who's, his goal is to paint 300 paintings of Pikes Peak. And he's painted 250. Well, by now, he's probably painted a lot more. He's probably well on his way. So,
I'm always amazed, depending on where you are around Pikes Peak,
yeah.
how different it looks
Exactly.
in the different seasons, the different time of the day, and the
Yeah.
different angles that you get from so many different places.
That's just it, because that's, Jack Denton is his name, and he's published 2 books of paintings. And when I would look at them, I'm like, yes, these are all Pikes Peak. But as you say, the atmospheric conditions, where exactly you are. He one time went up in what was it? I don't know. Maybe it was a helicopter. But, just different perspectives, and it was fascinating.
Okay, so flying around Pikes Peak, what else?
There's a play coming up called 4 Old Broads. It's like, I got to talk to the broads because they're doing a sequel. I went to the one last year and it was hilarious. So this is like 4 Old Broads on the high seas. So I want to talk to the 4 Old Broads. But it is a hilarious play that is coming up by Funky Little Theater. Their plays are at Westside Community Center, and that's coming up in June.
Nice.
So I want to talk to them.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. I have so many ideas, and the writing is a joy for me, or even the editing. But my weak link is the photos, and that's very important. So if anyone is listening to this and you're a photographer who can take decent photos, email me.
Could be some freelance work in the... Okay.
One of the questions that we always ask each of our guests is, what do you love about Colorado Springs?
You did give me that one in advance. That's the only one you gave me in advance. But when I was thinking about it, I thought, okay, I want to say some different things. So I have a horrible sense of direction. It's really bad. So this is a city for me because guess what? Pikes Peak never moves. So I always know what direction I'm going.
Yep.
It's gotten 5 feet taller since I've been here.
It's a built-in compass right there.
But it doesn't rotate, or at least not that I'm aware of. So anyway, I love that. I mean, and of course, it's gorgeous. Before I moved here, I thought, I wonder if you ever get tired of looking at it. No, you do not. No. Because it's always different. You always notice, hey, there's more snow, there's less snow. And those mornings when I'm fortunate enough to get up early and to see the Pink Mountain is my absolute favorite. So I love that. I live up north, so I love that they built the Ent Center for the Arts and that I can see some great plays and concerts and things like that without always driving downtown. So I love that. Like tonight I'm going to hear Gary Goldman, comedian, because I read his book called Misfit, which was hilarious. But anyway, I get to go there, and it's just a short drive, and it's easy parking, and, you know, I love that they did that. I love the houses on Wood Avenue. They're so beautiful. Yeah. I don't live there, but I love to admire them. It's like all those houses have a story, and they all look so different, you know, unlike the subdivisions now where you think, oh, there's that one again.
Yeah, it is a beautiful street. If you haven't been on that, you know, I mean, anybody who's a native knows about it. Mm-hmm. You're not a native, are you?
I'm not. My mom is a Colorado native, but I am not.
Okay.
No.
But anyway, you should just go walk or ride your bike down Wood Avenue.
I missed the 2 trees, the 2 conifers.
Oh,
they were always lit up white, and they're next to each other. They were just an icon of driving on I-25. You could see them, and they haven't been lit for
So was it just
years.
at Christmas, or was it always?
No, it's mostly at Christmas.
Yeah.
But they sold the house, and the people who bought the house just don't light it up. And this is back in the days of actual light bulbs and not LEDs.
Yeah. Right.
It was expensive to keep these 2 trees lit.
Yeah. We also have a phenomenal library system here. I mean, people who move here from other places are like, wow, I had no idea. You know, you don't even have to be a reader to enjoy the library. You can take a cooking class or do yoga or print something with a 3D printer or make an album or all kinds of things you can do there.
Yeah. In fact, I think reading might be the bottom 10% of activities at the library these days.
Yeah.
One of the things that, as a cyclist, the libraries, to me, were always a refuge. If the weather really went south on me, ducking into a library was always a good thing to do.
But, you know, the libraries really went downhill when we had all these bicyclists ducking in. Just
taking refuge.
And they're dripping wet. Just kidding, Al.
I have to inject this, but J.W. Roth, the co-owner of the Colorado Springs Independent,
I knew he'd find a way to work this in.
Had an opinion piece. And he said such nasty things about the library. His term, the doomed district library, is talking about the Rock Rimmon Library. And I understand budget limitations, but to say that that place was doomed seems so cruel because I lived in that neighborhood and that library was anything but doomed. And there's a lot of people that support the library. So if you have to cut something, that might be the library to cut. But don't ever say that you're cutting it because people weren't using it, because that's not the truth. I
used it, and I don't even live there.
Yeah, me too. But I'm not sure if you're misinterpreting maybe what he meant.
I'll just read what he wrote.
Why don't you read the sentence or two?
So he's describing Dave Donelson's legacy of being dysfunctional. In his words, the dysfunctional legacy of Dave Donelson. And he says, Donelson voted no on the city's 2025 budget because it did not include money to keep the Rock Rimmon Library open for another year. His vociferous defense of his doomed district library is particularly ironic given he confirmed 2 of the board members who voted to close it down. So he's stating facts, but doomed is not a fact. He added that in, and it turned me off to not only the article, but to the Independent. It makes me question that.
Yeah, I'm just not sure if you can tell from that, because it could be that he's saying it was doomed because the board decided it was doomed, maybe. But I'm not 100% sure that you've drawn the right conclusion, but who knows? But we'll invite
That's
JW
why there's 2 of us, and you have an opinion, and so do I, and they both stink.
That's why we need a co-host. So, Rhonda, help us find. We need one more person at the table routinely. who doesn't look like the two of us.
It is a rough time. And maybe that's worth an article, too, is I'm trying to adapt to a very changing world.
Yeah.
And being an older Caucasian male is becoming a challenging thing. It's like I'm guilty for just being
existing.
in those categories.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm on your side.
You're suspect for some reason. You're
but
suspect.
instantly, I'm suspect. And just being categorized like that by people who don't want to be categorized, it's like, this is getting awkward. I want to understand you. I want to support everybody. But when you put me into a category, it's like, there's no equity here.
Yeah, in defense of that, just a little bit, unfortunately, we've been in charge of the world unfairly for too long, and we don't have that good a track record. So I can understand why people might be cautious. I think you should consider our perspective, but consider it carefully because we might be wrong.
Just as white women are learning that they got their jobs in some cases because of DEI, yet they thought it didn't apply to them.
Yeah.
I think a lot of things that we get credit for, we older white men, I didn't make some of the decisions.
Yeah.
But I happen to be what I am, but I'm a lot of other things. So my point is, it's just challenging being instantly categorized as one of those people when I'm not. And when I do get a chance to talk to people, they realize, oh, you're not like those others, which is the lesson I think we all have to learn. Is
Yeah.
don't put anybody into a box.
Yeah, it's labels. Labels aren't helpful.
Could be an article.
I think it might.
I'm getting ideas.
So do you have a secret place that you go for solitude or just to...
Well, actually, I do work from home, so my home is a fairly,
Okay. But we can't invite everybody to your home.
No.
But it's one of your favorite places? You've set it up
I
to
would
be
say,
a
yes.
refuge of sorts? Or?
Yeah, I would say so. A lot of times it seems like I will duck into just different coffee shops because I usually have my work with me. And if I have time, between places, like, let me just go here. And
Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I find myself going back to Third Space Coffee a lot at Vickers and Academy.
Very close to where I live.
I haven't been there.
Yeah. I like that
We
one.
should meet there.
I'm also close to Cottonwood Creek, and I have so many cherished memories of when my kids were little. And when you go down there, it's just like a 5-minute walk, and it's like you're in a different world. And the Springs is kind of like that. From where I live and I come here, this is so different, and I love that about it. It's like a bunch of cities in one, or a bunch of areas in one to me,
Yeah, pretty different characteristics between, like right here at Cascade and Willamette, is a lot different than Research Parkway and
Absolutely.
Union.
Yeah, but that's the fun of it. I mean, it's great. There's a lot of places you could take refuge.
So Cottonwood Creek, I think I have ridden every little trail along the creek, which most people wouldn't even know were there. And there are some phenomenal spots along Cottonwood Creek that you would just not expect in the city.
You mentioned, Al, I think that we're recording this on the 28th of March. So by the time you're listening to this episode, the city election will be over because April 1st was the last day that you could turn in ballots. And the last episode, we had a good conversation with a couple of former city councilors, Jan Martin and Jill Gabler. We kind of talked informally about some of the candidates. And I'm thinking maybe we should do an episode soon talking about the new slate of city councilors, or maybe even invite some of them to come in and talk to us even.
Colorado Public Radio today, this morning, said that only 13% of voters have turned in their ballots already.
Wow.
Big gap between when there's a national election.
Yeah. Good story in this copy of The Independent about that fact, that April elections are, they're tough. A lot of people don't even know there's an election. They think they're all in November.
If you don't vote, you may not have that right anymore.
Yeah.
You got to get out there and participate.
They can't be bothered to vote, but they'll be bothered to complain.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a good opportunity to make a difference. But I think there's some pretty interesting people running, and so I'm hoping that we can have some interesting conversations here on Loving the Springs with some of them about what they hope to do.
Yeah, that would be good.
But I want to brag about a couple of other podcasts. The most recent Pedal the Springs podcast, Corey Sutella of Medicine Wheel Trail Advocates, substituting for Tori Giffen as host. He brought in 3 volunteers with Bike Colorado Springs. Fascinating conversation. I just didn't have a complete picture of Bike Colorado Springs. What a wonderful local nonprofit doing great work. And I wanted to bring that up because rumor has it Al is a little bit fond of bicycling in this town.
Maybe just a little.
And I started that organization. It evolved beyond, way beyond. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure your name was mentioned a couple times in that episode.
But thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you for getting that thing up and running.
This is a great place to bike if
Oh, yeah.
anybody has missed that. And I'm offering you an opportunity to, if you want to see Cottonwood Creek in a different way, I have the ability to show it to you in a way I guarantee you have not seen it.
Probably so.
No chemical additives necessary, just 2 wheels.
I'm sure that's true. Do you e-bike or do you just regular bike?
Yes.
Or both?
I do.
Anything that has wheels on it, Al has one, I'm sure. This guy is attracted to anything on wheels.
Have you ever ridden a unicycle?
I have ridden every unicycle that has ever existed.
What?
Every style. I will show you pictures of me on every single
my
style of
goodness.
unicycle.
So then the roller skating is just like, why would I not, right?
Yes.
More
Yeah,
wheels.
Sleep. Yeah.
I'm not trying to brag, but when it comes to unicycles, I don't think there's one. If there's a design,
Yeah.
I have ridden it, yes.
Wow.
Knowing Al, he's probably tried to put wheels on a Barca Lounger.
I have pictures of that too. I really appreciate you coming and sharing
Yes.
your ideas,
Well,
your
this is
perspective.
Great for first time to be on a podcast. And I just encourage everybody to read the Beacon and do like Al did. If you have an idea for an article, something you'd like to see, shoot me an email. We have great readers and we love them. And if you're not a reader, we hope you will be. And yeah, stay tuned for our exciting upcoming, hopefully, adventures that we're going to have. And
It's impressive. I'm always interested in what I see. You're doing a great job.
I love it. I mean, I have a great job. I really do. I just am so thankful for this job. I worked the same job for 24 years in book and play publishing, Merriweather Publishing. Then the pandemic hit. And of course, I lost my job because no one's paying royalties to see plays. I had no paycheck. So anyway, I am so thankful. I feel like it's a very good fit for me. And I feel like I have gotten to know so much about this great community that I have called home since the late 80s. And it's just been, it's wonderful.
Good. It's a pleasure to have you here.
And one day the three of us will be part of that demographic that you're aiming at.
One of
day.
these days. So do tell us that lag between a magazine for over 50 and when a reader actually picks up their first copy. How old is that person?
Our publisher, Kevin Van Gundy, says, well, you know, if your tagline is living your best life after 50 in Colorado Springs, that means people will not pick it up and read it until they're 60. So,
Okay.
So you got the soapbox for another minute. Is there anything else?
well, I just think we all can enjoy all the fun things that are coming up with farmers markets and outdoor concerts and some of those fun things here that make summertime in Colorado Springs wonderful.
And I noticed the Beacon has an event calendar, so you can find some
Yes.
of those things.
And submit. If you have an event, you can submit it online, or if you get it to me in enough time, I'll put it in the print edition. And
Well, thanks for what you do, Rhonda. It's great to have you contributing to this community in such a positive way. Appreciate it.
well, thank you guys. It's been a blast. Thanks.
And thanks for listening to Loving the Springs. Follow this podcast to keep up on
What's going on?
what's going well.
And what could use some improvement?
Share it with your friends, family, and colleagues.
And be sure to visit studio809podcasts.com to check out the amazing lineup of community podcasts. Find your new favorite local podcast.
We'll catch you next time.
In the Pikes Peak region, there's no shortage of activities. Whether you're experiencing breathtaking parks or magnificent works of art, if you're getting fashionable at a film festival or fresh at a farmer's market, if you want to hear the sweet sounds of a symphony or the smooth shred of a Stratocaster, look no further than Peak Radar, your one-stop shop for all events in the Pikes Peak region, your free source for viewing and posting events. So no matter how you engage with our beautiful region, visit peakradar.com and get plugged into the peak.